Here I'll give you a brief introduction to the water tank simulator environment. You access this URL from the assignment sheet, and I'll also include this in the description of this YouTube video. But we can click on this and save the file. It's a jar file, a Java jar file. And then when it downloads, we can go up to the file and just click on it, and it should open up. Down here you'll get a little coffee cup of Java, and the coffee cup, there are actually two coffee cups, one on the other. One is the simulator window that you see here, and the other is a description window that you could also access if you wanted to. When it comes open, the center part of the screen shows the behavior of the water level in the tank for each simulation run. So let me just run it with the default parameters here, and you can see that the water tank fills up and levels off at an equilibrium content of 20 gallons. Over here on the right hand side, you've got the volume that's in the tank for different times, and you can also see over here that it leveled off at 20. The other thing you can see is that, let me pop this up here, the animation over here of water going into a tank is also controlled by these sliders, the input sliders. So the input sliders set the input values of the model, but also it controls the animation so you can get a little bit better visualization. So lots of inflow, not so much inflow, and the initial volume, lots of volume, not so much volume, so we'll set the volume there. And also the lifetime. The first two, the inflow and the initial volume, are fairly obvious. The lifetime is kind of interesting. As we make the lifetime longer, the hole size gets smaller. And the reason for that is that a long lifetime means it takes a long time, a relatively long time, to empty out once it's filled. Whereas a short lifetime, the hole size would get bigger and it would empty out in a shorter amount of time. Okay. You can also input the numbers by either sliding these, or if I wanted to say put the number 1.5 in here, I can type 1.5 and then hit the enter key. So it's important to hit the enter key when you enter those numbers if you want to do it manually, if you don't like the slider option. Okay. The run button is on the left, the reset button is on the right, and then the middle button you probably won't use much is a stepping button. Now I can run several simulations one right after the other. Let me do that. Well, that wasn't a very interesting one. Let me do something like this. I don't know if this is going to be interesting or not, but the main idea is that you can compare several simulation runs on the same graph. Over here in the data column, the first run goes first, the second run is appended on to the first run, and then you can scroll down, the last run is appended onto that. So if you're making multiple runs and you need to look at the numbers, numerical values over here in this table, you have to be a bit mindful about the order of the runs, the order that you ran each simulation, and take careful notes as to what each simulation corresponded to as far as the input parameters. Okay, then we can hit the reset button and start fresh. Everything starts at their default value. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is the simple tank. The simple tank has no hole, and so there's no lifetime slider to worry about. You just have the inflow that you can control and the initial content in the tank. And then if you run it, it just is a linear straight line filling up of the bucket. Run it at a different level here. Let me start it out empty and do something like this. Okay, but it just keeps filling up at a steady rate. The steepness of this line corresponds to the inflow into the tank. So you'll want to definitely use this in part one. The simple tank is the one you want to use. And then if you want to get back to the full water tank simulator, you can click on the reset and everything comes back to normal. Okay, good luck. That should get you started.